Good morning and welcome to 1 Million Cups Sherman. I'm Ruth Williamson and we're here in Sherman, Texas today with our meeting and our presenters. Our sponsors are Douglas Distributing, Ideation Station, Beam Me Up provides the coffee, and TechWave provides their technology. We're going to have a short video on 1 Million Cups and what that's about.
One Million Cups is a weekly educational program developed by the Kauffman Foundation.
It's a place where our entrepreneurs can come and connect within the community.
There's a real kind of vibe or a real energy here that's about supporting entrepreneurs.
We have two presenters each week, two entrepreneurs. They come and tell about their journey.
They each have about 6 minutes to present.
You're telling people what you're up to, and you're essentially getting feedback from them.
There's about 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A.
All the questions that they asked us really got us thinking about new ways to think about our business.
It was good just to be able to get that feedback from the rest of the community.
So over the years we've added more cities. It creates a great energy here to see what's happening across the country.
Last question for you, what can we as a community do for you?
The what can we as a community do to help you question is what really coalesces the community around every single presenter.
When somebody applies to present to 1 Million Cups, they're instructed to watch a series of videos through the Kauffman Foundry School website.
It's invaluable information for someone who's founding a startup.
I felt better prepared, I felt more confident, and I think a little more focused than I would have been otherwise. Had I not watched the videos of the founder schools, it was a great way to prepare.
I really like the educational component of 1 Million Cups because it does create that open forum.
You're going to hear great ideas that will help you start thinking even more about what you want to do with your business.
What I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable. The cool thing about 1 Million Cups is that you're amongst other people like yourself.
Just hearing someone talk about their startup, it just was magical to think, wow, there's other people out there like myself.
Sitting in a room with other people that have ideas too, it helps people to leave thinking, you know what, my idea is worth something, it's worth pursuing, it's worth going after it. Even if it looks like a challenge, I should still go out and try to do it.
At 1 Million Cups, we believe that your ideas are worth pursuing and are working to build a community of entrepreneurs and startups that support each other, that network, that challenge each other, and help make each other better. Our first presenter this week is Tammy Odom with Sparrows Gallery.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me here. Sparrows Gallery is we're in our third year now, and it's been an exciting journey. It took 16 years to get to this journey. So first of all, if you're an entrepreneur, keep dreaming, keep working towards that goal. We started our gallery with a different and unique concept. We did not want to open the same model that other people have used. Nothing wrong with that model, and if you're a gallery that has local artists, that's great. We have local artists in our gallery. But we knew that we had to come up with a niche that was going to work. And so for us, what we did is we created a gallery that brought in local artists, both established and new artists, as well as national and international artists. And the reason that we did that is we knew that we wanted to have community. Art galleries are difficult. In the United States right now, anybody want to take a guess how many art galleries there are? Shoot me a guess, somebody. Anybody?
100,000.
How many?
100,000.
100,000. Anybody else?
10,000.
10,000. Okay, you're both wrong and you're both high on that number. There are currently 6,500 art galleries in the United States. That is a low number business, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them is online. People can click, they can go to, creative this, creating that, and Facebook and Etsy and all these different sites, and they can buy art. And sometimes that's a great thing, they get exactly what they want, and sometimes not so great. So we wanted to do something that was going to fill a niche, and part of that niche is community. You could go into a sticks and bricks building and you could buy art. So we wanted to be able to make that an exciting experience. So we brought in national and international artists. Some of them are well known, extremely well known. Some of them are emerging artists as well, and it's been our privilege to be able to help emerging national and international artists to become better known. Now, we've spent some money on advertising. We hired 2911 Creative. They've come in and done a fabulous job for us with our advertising on Facebook, social media, that kind of thing. But we've done our artists, they're great. We have a beautiful building. We also felt that you couldn't just make it doing an art gallery. So our second prong approach was in building community. We looked around, and at that point in time, there wasn't anybody really offering art classes. So we do offer art classes. That's an adjunct that we bring in, and we do. And it's been wonderful. We do kids classes, adult classes in a variety of mediums. That's been something great. But the third thing that we offer is something that's pretty unique, and that is we do framing in our gallery. And we've managed to do it in a way that's really unique, I think. That is that we have, and Mark, if you would come join me, we have Mark Nagel, and he is more than just a framer. So Mark does framing in a unique way. Explain.
More than just a framer, okay. Well, it's not unique as much as it is old world. It's old world craftsmanship with framing. Glue and nail. The clamps I use are from the 1800s. It's a style of framing that's just not seen anymore, especially with the big boxes, chain stores. So what we offer at the gallery is framing your piece of art, your children's artwork from school, whatever that may be. We're going to frame it with the same care and the same quality as we would frame a $1,000 piece of art. So it's archival, it's preserved, it's going to be there on your wall for a long time and still look great. And we still do this at a cost that's competitive with the big box stores. So we do this a little different.
And see, he doesn't brag on himself. Here's the deal. He does it old school, from long sticks of molding, and he glues and nails his corners. He's like Geppetto. So I have the Geppetto of the framing world in my world. And so his thing is, he's had 30 years of experience.
Yep.
He still does it old school. And he's an artist. He's a framing savant, basically. So this is the way that we do what we do. And the last thing that we do that's very unique is I love performance art. So we managed to bring in performance art. We do lots and lots of events in the gallery. This is also another way to bring community in. And that, I think, has been what has made us a first place gallery in the Texoma area. Now, the exciting thing that we are doing and that we need help with is we're expanding. We've actually outgrown our building in 3 short years, and we are looking for a new gallery space. What we want to know from our community is, where would you like to see that? Is it going to be Sherman? Is it going to be Denison? Is it going to be somewhere else, whatever? Where would our community like to see that? And then also, what can we do to better serve our community? Are there things that we're not doing, things you'd like to see from us? So I believe we've got 1 more minute. I can't believe I talk fast enough that I have 1 more minute. Yay, score. Anything else you can think of that we do in our gallery world? One more thing, and I know it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lord. We base our gallery on Christian values. We are named Sparrows Gallery from Matthew 10:29. We have been, always will be, a Christian gallery. And with that, we give 10% of everything that we bring in the doors goes to charity. Our charity right now is Share Taking It to the Streets. That ends in June. Then starting July, our next quarter's charity is for the Sherman Symphony. We try to rotate our charities and go all around. It is always a local charity. So just so you know, when you walk in the door and you buy something, we don't usually make a big deal about that. It's just something that we do. We've always chosen to do that. It's actually in our mission statement. So just so you know. Anything else? Fair enough. Any questions?
So what do you envision the new gallery looking like? would you like it to feel? Talk about your current building and what it's like. What would you change or do differently?
It's really interesting. So I was an interior decorator prior to opening the gallery, and when we walked into our gallery, it was pretty hideous in there. I'm not going to say it was a nice space, but the building spoke to me, and it was built in 1872. It had brick walls on two sides and then the typical drywall. So that building said basically Chicago urban, and we turned it into that kind of space.
That's one of the things that people that come into the area from other cities, from other towns, first thing they say is, wow, this has such a great vibe here. It has, you know, I
Never
wouldn't have
expected to see this
Right.
in Denison, Texas.
Right. So
we
that's-
get that a lot.
That's part of something, you know, to create a vibe, like not to copy what we have now in the building, because we always want to be new and fresh, but to still have that vibe that's going to be unique to the gallery.
Well, what I was going to say about that is when you walk into a building, though, I think, just from my past, a building will speak to you, and it's going to tell you what it needs to be. So I can't walk into a totally different space and say, I'm going to recreate Sparrows Gallery in here as it stood in Denison. I don't care if I walk down the street and there's another really cool building in Denison, it's probably not going to look like what I currently have. So what we're going to do is it's going to be a new kind of cool. Now, what I do hope to recreate is when people walk into our gallery, and this I think is the God factor, honestly. When you walk into our gallery, so many times people say, there's such a feeling of peace in here. I could stay here all day. It is in part the art, it's beautiful, it's calming, but it's also just something, as they say, there's an aura in here. I don't believe that has anything to do with anything that we've created. I honestly believe that is because if you invite him, he will come. And I pray that that stays the same in any space that we go to. But as far as the space goes, it's going to be exciting. I'm actually really excited to see where we'll end up, because it's going to be fun to say, ooh, what can we do with this? You know, that whole new blank palette, as it were. Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
So you mentioned how important community was to you. How do you define community, and what are you doing to realize that objective?
Community to me, and it may feel different to you, community to me is not, first of all, it's people. And I look at the broad spectrum of people. I'm a little bit different. Sometimes in this area, it's where were you born, and they want to hear Denison, or they want to hear Sherman, or, you know, I was born in Bermuda, so let's blame it on the triangle right now. And I transplanted here in 1997, so those of you who are going, well, how long have you been here? I had a kid that graduated from Sherman and a kid that graduated from Denison. So I am Switzerland. So that said, community to me is a big, broad area. And I would love to see people become community from far away and close. One of the things this gallery has done is we have brought people here from as far away as down to Universal City. We've had people here from Utah, people here from St. Louis that came specifically to see the art in Sparrows Gallery. So they come in, they visit for the weekend, they get exposed to this area. And I don't just mean one city, I mean the area, which I think is cool. But when you say community, I am looking to bring kids in and families in and people who have never been exposed to art to come and see and share and enjoy art. Whether they buy a piece of art or not, I just want them to be exposed to art because I love art. I want to share art. And so to us, that's extremely important. And just coming in, oh my gosh, you know, we're open every Friday night till 9, which is really kind of, it's fun, but it also takes a lot out of your life. Yeah, it's a very long day. But since I'm there, I want everybody else to be there. It's pretty boring if you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, you're the only one there. So we do a lot of events to just bring people in. But on Friday nights, I mean, Mark plays guitar and we're just there. People pop by. Sometimes they bring instruments and we're just there doing our thing. And it has become kind of community. People just come in and they're like, hey, it's Friday night. What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
we're like, hey, not much, come hang out. Sometimes people bring food. It's like, they feel very open. It is like home away from home for a lot of people. And we have become such a sense of community. We have some older people that come in. Sometimes they'll just hang out for 2 or 3 hours and just chat with us. And it has become somewhat of a family. And it's great.
Yeah. What are the ways the community institutions are helping you, like a city, even like local institutions? Are they doing collaboration or trying to did a lot of events with you together? Or how's doing it? How often these institutions helping you? Despite your own effort, it is a great effort,
Right.
As far as collaborations go, we have had some businesses that have worked with us.
When we did the thing with Megan, and that was involved a lot of downtown businesses.
So we came up with an idea to work with some downtown businesses, and we brought in an interior designer from out of Dallas. And what we did, she came in and we actually had her go with us to multiple businesses. We brought in some collaborative works from all these different businesses, and then we did a show with her designs that she actually took pieces of furniture from here and whatnot, created vignettes out of all this furniture in the gallery, and of course our art went with the different vignettes. And then we had music there from musicians, and so it became this big event. It was really quite successful, and it was nice because we actually sold. We sold more of
for other
we
stores,
sold more for other stores than we did for us.
Yeah.
But it was really great because we collaborated with other stores and we had this event. And then we've done some other events as well where we've worked with different businesses and just pulled off some fun things.
And we've done Friday nights with the Hilton.
Yes, so we've done some, Friday nights with the Hilton. We've done some different things where we're always open to working with other businesses. That's something that we feel like if we partner up, there's success there in that partnership. We've also done things where we've opened our doors for events and we've partnered with, so Driggs has donated to us before, Fossil Creek has donated to us before. We've had food vendors, caterers. Sugar Bear Catering has, I always get their name wrong,
Knife and Whisk.
Knife and Whisk, thank you so much. Knife and Whisk. I always want to say it backwards. Has donated catering. Vittina's Deli has donated catering to us. So, it's been great to have that shared resource. And of course, we advertise for them too.
On your art classes, I'm just a big proponent of that, and I know that I have a degree in studio art, so I'm really a big proponent of that. So what do you offer them? Is it a particular medium? Do you teach them how to draw, how to paint? Is it crafty? All levels, ages? Can you expand on that?
Sure. So right now, in fact, June 30th, we have a watercolors class, and we break that up. So from 5 to 10-year-olds, there's a 2-hour class, and then we break for lunch, and then she teaches again for 11 through adults. And so the cost is really low. It's $20, and we include all the materials and a snack. So kids love it. And we do varied classes. We just did a drawing class not too long ago. We're doing the watercolors class. Then there'll be an acrylics class.
What was really fun about that watercolors class, just to kind of get a sense of the community deal, is in this watercolor class, on the drawing class, had a great teacher in the drawing class, and we had retired gentleman in his 80s, I guess. We had children, we had this whole age group, and the way they worked and related, and it just was such an energy there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was the first class. We did an anime class, and we just opened it to any age group. And literally, we had an 80-year-old retired man right alongside a 5-year-old, and the interaction was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Love that social aspect.
Yes, it was absolutely amazing to watch them interact. And really, the art classes, if we have a book that people sign in, and when they tell me they're interested in an art class, I'll tell them, write down the medium, write down what you'd like to see. When we have enough people interested in a certain class, we'll just book that. We'll just do it. We'll just make that happen. Because We have every single medium in our gallery that you can possibly imagine. I represent 35 artists. We'll come up with it. We'll find an instructor to make that work for them. So the only one we're kind of iffy on is pottery, only because I need a bigger space.
Yeah, we need more room for that.
Just the mess of that is like, I kind of cringe inside and go, really, in my gallery? But we've taught so many things. It's just been fun. And I love it because I get to watch that experience and listen and learn, and as an artist I get to be around all that, so it's a lot of fun for me.
How far in advance do you plan your marketing calendar?
Our marketing calendar is already planned through the end of the year. I am a big believer in pre-planning everything that you can pre-plan. Now that does not mean that I'm not flexible. So for instance, I wasn't planning on doing another major event until September, but I've had so many people asking, when are you going to do your next music event?
We try to give ourselves 4 to 6 weeks to promote it properly.
Right.
Because I think when you start promoting, there's a window there. If you promote
too early,
6 months in advance, they're going to forget.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to have enough advance to really build that energy out there, but you don't want to go too far in advance. But usually 4 to 6 weeks we try to start the heavy promotion.
Yeah, so we're already having people asking us, when's your next big thing? And so we've decided we're going to throw another one in there. We usually avoid summer because people are all, they're busy, they're doing their thing, they're out running amok and at the lake, and so we usually don't do anything during the summer. But so, like, we already know October 12th we're doing an exhibition for Willie Thomas. That's already on the calendar, so their dates are already set in stone. They're already out there for our events, but so we're going to be throwing one in there. Again, flexible.
So if your Friday night is sort of like the small country town where people gathered in front of the store on the porch,
that's us.
Kind of,
how do you get that up? I mean, obviously that'll spread word of mouth, but it takes longer. And if that's part of your brand, to have people feel very comfortable coming to your living room that happens to have art, and it's really a salon concept, 17, which is something I'm interested in doing more of, and having people have discussions and literary stuff. So, but how do you get that out? Because, that's not something I was aware of, and I come to Denison and I follow what everybody's doing. So
with us, we're social media freaks, but we posted that a lot in the first 2 years that we were open, and now it's sort of it's almost like a cult thing.
Yeah.
It's become a little bit of a, like, people kind of just, they know, and maybe I need to repost some more on social media about that, because I have been kind of bad about
and that kind of leads into promotions. Promotion nowadays is so different than it used to be years ago. When I used to own a paint store, you put an ad in the newspaper. That's what you did. That doesn't work anymore.
luck.
That doesn't work anymore. So without spending, and so many, us as well as so many, I'm sure, other entrepreneurs out there just don't have the budget to flood media with their advertising, and that's
and then there's a lot of your target market that's very difficult.
Right.
There is. We all talk about the lake people, but there is no newspaper, local news.
Right.
Those homes are very hard unless they are. This is the device.
Yep.
They're on their mobile phones.
Yep.
But other than that, it's very difficult. So you have to use inbound marketing and search and stuff like that.
It is, and even when you talk about social media, that is not the be all and end all either. No. We tweet, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You do all those things, and I do them kicking and screaming. It's why I finally hired a professional company. But it's because I'm old school in a new world, low tech. But anyways, the thing about all that is that you are only as good with that as your spider web is. That's what I think of when I think of that. Because you have however many people are on your Facebook page and on your personal page, and then whatever they spread out from their world, as it were. And so if you're trying to hit, there are 450,000 people in the greater Texoma area, okay? So first of all, when you look at your competition, and I say this to everyone, if you own whatever you own, gas station or this or that, I don't care what it is, a restaurant, remember, think of competition this way. If you own a restaurant and you're trying to serve people and you're worried about Joe that owns the restaurant 3 doors down, okay? There are 450,000 people. They can't all come to your restaurant. Stop being worried about your competition and just worry about being the most excellent that you can be in your restaurant. That's number one, because that's what we do. We worry about being the best us. And so the thing is, you can't reach that 450,000 people on your little Facebook page. You're never going to do it. You could take out the best cable television thing and you're not going to reach that number of people. You're not going to reach it with a newspaper ad, with a magazine. I don't care what you do. Word of mouth isn't going to travel that fast unless you set yourself on fire. Okay? It's just not going to happen. So all you can do is the best advertising in as many formats as you can do. And honestly, people say to me all the time, well, how do you advertise? The best I can in as many ways as I can. But the best advertising you can do is be excellent. Just be excellent. Look at your doors before you walk in every morning from the aspect of, if I was a customer, what am I seeing? What does it look like outside? I pick up trash every day if it's out there. I mean, curb appeal. And then when you walk in your doors, there's not dust, there's not, I'm a freak for how do we look. What are you presenting? You see me. That's because I'm presenting, I'm a curator in an art gallery. This is part of that art gallery. That's part of the art gallery. Who are you? What is your image? What do your customers see? How are you? What are your employees? What are they presenting? All of that, that's your advertising. People don't realize you're your own advertising.
So what can our startup and entrepreneurial community do for you?
Ooh, advertise.
I think part of
Get out that word of mouth.
Part of that is for advertising is utilizing that community because as an individual business,
it's hard to get the word out. You know, one of the hardest things for me is that I can't get out in the community like I would wish. I'm a one-man show because a lot of times he's not there. So from 10 to 6, you know, and I'm there. I'm there. I can't get out and sell Sparrows Gallery like I would wish because I'm working Sparrows Gallery. So honestly, getting the word out, but also letting us know, honestly, all joking aside, it's a tough decision to decide. Am I staying in Denison? Am I moving to Sherman? I think those really, in reality, are the 2 locations I would look at. And there are pros and cons to both. There, you know, everybody says, well, Denison is the kitschy little art area, and it's got the great main street that's got better parking. True fact. Then there are people who say, but Sherman, you know, has a higher median income. That's just the statistical fact. And Sherman is more up and coming, and you've got more businesses coming to the area, and Sherman wants to become known more as an arts community, and so come over to Sherman. If you're in my head, you're just going, I don't know what to do. So people talk, let me know, because I have a unique opportunity to move a business. Where am I moving this business? Because what I don't want to do is take a first place art gallery and stumble in where I put it and lose all of my customer base. That I do not want to do. So that's me being honest. Like, you'll find there's nothing about me that's not just putting it out there and being honest. So.
Well, thank you so much, Tammy, for coming.
Absolutely.
Mark.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So our next presenter is going to be Rhonda Corley with Wabi-Sabi Vintage. And I'm sure everybody's going, what's Wabi-Sabi Vintage? But it's a pretty exciting thing for you to bring to our area. Come on up.
Thank you, Ruth. So I guess I should explain the title first of all. Wabi-Sabi was actually, the name was actually born after we created this recipe and collaboration and decided what our product would be. But Wabi-Sabi is a Japanese term. It actually means perfectly imperfect, aged to perfection, embracing flaws and all that. So I have to tell you how this started because we just basically opened the door. We've been open for a couple of weeks. Our Instagram and our Facebook page has been up for a while, but we honestly are just now open. We have a really beautiful showroom in Sherman. But I have a degree in studio art, and I graciously inherited from my family the love of odd objects and rusty buckets and things that need rewired and refurbished and rebirthed and all that. And my basement is absolutely full. Always has been, always will be. And my daughter works as a prop stylist out of New York. And when I left the corporate world about 3 years ago, she said, because we were always looking for props because she does magazine covers and sells products, so she has to build theme and interesting things. So she's always looking through my basement for props, and we're always renting and buying props. And she said, Mother, you just should start a business and rent out props. And to me, because I have a background in marketing, I contemplated that, and I thought this would be tough. Who is going to want to rent out props? I mean, photographers, yes, but small community, and do you have what they need, and blah, blah. To me, it just looked like I'm looking for success. It just didn't look like success to me. So I started my exploration. So if entrepreneurs or anything, they're creative. Sparks fly, ideas, constantly. You have to slap yourself to keep them from coming. But I listened because I was in exploration mode. So I actually went on Craigslist and some other online sites that will direct you toward businesses for sale. And strangely enough, Craigslist, something came up about dish rental. This lady in Dallas had a dish rental company that she wanted to sell. It was very small. And I thought, interesting, so I visited with her and I went. Everything that she had for rent, because she rented out to brides exclusively or special events, was dishes, plain glass dishes. Everything that she owned was on one huge dining room table. She had contracts and for people to sign, and she had it all figured out. Little buckets with the dishes in it so she could carry them herself and all. And I thought, that is so plain, but that would be cool. I mean, there is nothing minimal about me. I want color, and I want lots and lots and tons of stuff and rows and stacks of stuff to pick from because I'm an artist. I want to put things together. And so I went home and I was contemplating that idea, and a friend of mine said, you know, if you want to do something, you should start a rental company. She had an experience with a rental company, and it wasn't necessarily favorable, and she didn't have choices. It's like this one price, and this is what I got. Nothing else to pick from. And so the recipe started forming. The cake was baking. My little head, those sparks were flying. Well, you get enough sparks, and there's going to be a flame. So I started buying dishes. That was about 2.5 years ago. Started buying dishes, and I thought, oh my God, I didn't know I loved dishes. I didn't know I loved dishes so much, but I started to see the artwork, you know, in them, and I started to see the flaws, and I started to stack them and mix them and match them, and I just got so excited I thought I was going to die. And I would set the table, and I would take it up and set it again and take it up. And luckily for me, my daughter, who was in New York for 7 years doing this, moved back, and she said, we're going to do this, like, together. So she's the most amazing photographer. She's great at Instagram and all that. So I let her have that side of it. And then I started redoing those farmhouse tables and those chandeliers and things that were in my basement. And so I married the two. So what I couldn't do with all those big props in my basement, I was able to add those to the dishes because everybody needs dishes for a special event. And plus I could see that I can market that. I could see success with that. And so my little marketing plan starting to form because there's always a target audience. I don't care what you're selling. There's always a target audience. You figure out who your target is, that's number one, and then how do I get to them? And so I started seeing that it was going to be a little easier than I thought until I started doing it. But I knew I was going to have to approach caterers because they're the ones who, floral designers, the ones who make the wedding cakes, wedding planners, venues, but at least I had some specific people, that I could reach out to, make me feel like I'm doing stuff. Plus, it also educated me, because if somebody comes to me for dishes and they say, we would love to rent your dishes, but we don't have a venue, I need to have all that information, handy. You don't want anybody to leave empty-handed. So I started going to Willowwood and started just doing internet research. I went all the way up into Durant, over to Tioga, to little bitty places out in the woods, and learning what they were charging for these venues, how long you could have the venue, and every one of them took on a different personality. So I'm thinking, wow, there is a market for my stuff. Because if you're out at Enchanted Creek over in Denison with this beautiful little historic church, you don't want a bunch of little white plastic chairs folded out on the lawn. You want a pulpit, like an outdoor wedding, and some little benches. I mean, you want to bring that personality into it. Enter me. Because I can do that. I can do that. So if you don't have any inspiration, I can give you some. But we live in a world of Pinterest. We live in a world of unleashed creativity. And people go on there, they Google stuff, and they see something, but it's like, where am I going to get the stuff? And if I could get the stuff, how am I going to put it together to make it look like that? That is also a need that we can feel. And something that I really, really feel good about, there's not one dish, not one cup, not one fork that has been bought brand new. Every single piece that we have has been refurbished and rescued. Every single piece. We've got the mix-match silver with flaws. We've got everything that you can imagine that takes on a personality of its own. And that is Wabi-Sabi vintage, and that's how it was born. It's just like listening to those little smart sparks and small voices. But we're still learning. So after you did your little speech, I was like, okay, this totally works for me. It does, because this is different than trying to just sell someone your product. You need input, because everybody wants to be successful. And marketing is like the hardest part of it. But I will tell you, and I'll tell anyone this, I'm not going to a big monster corporation or a big monster department store to do anything. There's just no interest to me. I'm not a cookie cutter girl, and I love personal relationships. So while I enjoy social media, and I feel like that it's great connection as far as you can use it, like you said. But I love to get to know somebody. If I get to know somebody and build a relationship with them, that's who I'm going to. That's who I'm going to call up, and that's who I'm going to buy from. Because it just feels very personal. And honestly, I like to drive up right in front of the little place where I'm going and walk right in the door. Truly, I mean, it's old, call it old school or whatever, but I like that. So, but I don't know if there's any question you have for me, but we're like brand spanking new. I am getting a lot of interest. I had a text earlier that asked me if I had farmhouse tables, and they want mixed match dishes for December, and I'm getting sometimes a call a day. And I like slow starts. Because we wanted to fund it. I mean, I didn't want to take out any loans at all. I wanted to fund it and enjoy it, and so it's been a process of building. But our showroom is adorable. It's across the street from Kathleen's Kitchen. So it's 1910 North Travis, and every single room has a life of its own, and it's just a cottage. I mean, there's nothing fancy. But one room is devoted to, I've got some Louis XIV furniture in there that's gold, and everything in there is either clear with gold edges on it or white with gold. It has gold chandeliers, gold. And I've got a dish room that's got everything from Wexford to Star of David, but it's truly the pieces that your mother had. And so when you walk in there, you've got the bride's or maybe the groom's mother, you've got some memory things go in there, but it's just unique and different. It's not just cookie cutter stuff. And in another room, I have beautiful white dishes, but they're not just white, they all have ridges and borders, so when you stack them, they're just elegant. I've got a room that's devoted to gardens, so there's a lot of twisted metal lawn furniture and old statues and things for centerpieces. And then I've got a room that has a huge farmhouse table so that whoever's doing the special event, whether it's a bride or whoever, can mix and match and play around and take pictures so they can recreate it, because it's not so easy to do it. So if somebody wants to come and pick the dishes up, that's great. If they want us to deliver it, I have my friend Tawny Hodge. She has a place called House of Eli, and they're going to be doing delivery on the bigger things for us, so that fills the need for her. She's actually the one who said, somebody needs to open up a rental company. And I bought my first dishes from her, so everything just kind of comes full circle.
Right.
When you're like listening to those little voices. But so the delivery charge will be whatever they charge. You know, I'm not going to charge.
So it goes directly to them.
Yeah.
You have.
Yes, and it's just, so whatever they charge, that's what the customer is going to pay for them. And we have no problem. It keeps me from having to buy a van. But as far as the dishes and stuff goes, I am going to go with the little lady that I met with in Dallas and come up with some way that's doable, but, you know, just in case it's just a small party. But we don't care if it's small, we don't care if it's large, we don't care. I mean, to me, we're getting ready to do some prop styling with Finley 502. And on Monday night, we're going to build several tables, and we got a photographer coming so that we can kind of advertise for the Finley and show what could be done if someone wants to just show up. But people don't want to own these dishes. They do not. I have, one of my saving graces, I have so many friends that do estate sales, and they cannot get rid of dishes. That's good for me, because it's been low cost as far as inventory goes. And they are having a hard time. They said that, you know, the children don't want to inherit the dishes anymore because it's not their pattern. They don't want to. And there's no formal dining. And so they don't want to keep these dishes, you know, forever and ever and ever, and nobody to pass them down to. So it's been, that part has been really cool because it's mix match. So if you want a boho, I got the colored glasses. I got the colored wine bottles, you know, I've got the cushions that go around a low table. So you bring your inspiration. It's not what I want, you know, it's what you want, building that thing.
So Rhonda, you're now running 2 businesses. So how is that working for you?
Well, the yoga, to me, is that what you mean, talking about yoga? To me, I have to put no thought into that. That totally comes from my heart. I've been doing that for 17 years.
Right.
I just show up.
It's built into your lifestyle.
Yes,
so deeply
I
now.
just show up. I have no planning. In fact, I mean, when someone comes in to the studio, I may have a plan. I may think we're going to work back or shoulders or something, and then somebody comes in and they have bad back. And so I just rearrange everything for that class. But those classes are at the end of the day. They're in the evening. And I have one morning class. That's the one that all the doctors send everybody to. So that's generally 55 and up for that class. So it's not going to interfere. I don't do yoga classes on Friday. To me, it's just like almost like everything just fell into place. Just lined up. So on the weekends, I will be available for delivery on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But this is going to be up close and personal like you're talking about. I want to make sure that every single glass is spotless and shiny and doesn't have a nick on it. I mean, I want to give that kind of customer service. If somebody needs someone to come in there and wash those dishes, because a lot of them are hand washed, on the really expensive ones, I'll send somebody. You know, I mean, I want you to be carefree. I'll send somebody to wash those dishes for you, and they can pack them back up. So there's not really the checklist could be huge because it's like, what do you want? Do you want somebody to clean up
So
after?
it's a consultative sale.
Yes.
It's a consultative sale.
Yes.
So really, you're gonna have to, strategically think about how you connect directly with people, and it's a consultative sale. So is it scalable? I mean, can you, besides you and your daughter, are you gonna keep it, more personal? Is it
At
gonna
this
be
point,
your brand gonna be?
I would consider at this point that we're a boutique. We're a boutique. So if you want 4,200 chairs, I heard that somebody leased out 4,200 chairs. I ain't even interested.
So you're going to do what you're going to do, and that's what you're going to do.
Because that doesn't feed the creativity, and this
Right.
is my chance, to do something that's creative and fun, and that just doesn't resonate with me. Is all that to me, and even to me, the new flower is greens. We love to bring things from nature in. So if you're wanting us to set up your tables and stuff, you're going to save a lot of money, because we're not going to overdo those grandma flower arrangements and just stuff on full to charge you with flowers. We're going to do something that's more sparse. You're going to have eucalyptus and probably magnolia going down the table, because the showpiece is really the dishes and the crystal candelabras and stuff.
Okay, so you actually do the whole 9 yards then, if somebody wants.
If they want it.
Come in and add. So if I, for instance, wanted to in my gallery we do teas sometimes. So I could just have you come in and bring in your tables, the whole setup, and all I have to do is call the caterer and say, put the food in these plates.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Yes, and I have 100 plus of the beautiful old teacups that you can stack and hang, and it just
people do
makes
tea parties and whatnot in their homes and stuff.
Yes, it
You're
makes
good to
them
go on that, and you can set up the whole thing. You'll do even like you just said. You'll do the florals and the whole 9 yards. So
yes,
that's good.
yes, we're stylists. We're not going to have styrofoam and all that kind of stuff as far as the florals. It is going to be very showy and very beautiful. It's going to be very nature, very simple elegance is what it is. So, but if somebody has a planner, they're very welcome. The planner can bring the bride in, because we are not coordinators. I'm not going to do a checkoff list to make sure you got your photographer and your DJ, and not interested in that. I will bring our backdrops. I've got bicycles that've got baskets on it, rusty ones, white ones, that we can put florals out of, and you can put bubbles in it or do whatever you want to with it. I've got a rusty one that's got grapevines hanging on it that you can put wine in front of your bar. So if you really want something to pop, we can bring that sort of thing in, set the stage for your event, and we're gone.
Yeah, so you do the elements, but you're not the be all and end all, which is great.
No. And if, like I said, if the wedding planner wants to come in and bring their bride, and they go through the dishes and get it set up exactly like they want it, well then they're very welcome to do that.
So if you had 2 events on the same weekend, you're going to have to reserve. I can see where you would have to say, well, these dishes are reserved on that day. They're not available, but these dishes are.
Yes, well, we're working on that, but I can tell you what I'm thinking so far, because I'm analytical about this. They need to come in at Monday before their event on the weekend. Those dishes are theirs. They will be saved, boxed up, and put aside. Our inventory sheets, too, are going to be really interesting, and that's the reason I love this collaboration, is because we don't have white dishes, clear dishes, crystal dishes, so that you're going to get 50 of these and 100 of these or whatever. We've got mixed match, so I've really had to work because I do have just china, not necessarily antique china. It's this mixed match, beautiful china, and then I've got the antique stuff. Right? And so that's how it's just going to have to be classified. It's the same with the whites. The whites are vintage, but I didn't bring many plain things into the mix.
Right. This is where your brand identity, whether you start with your daughter, because I've seen it, what she's done on, Instagram, to your cards and brochures and and of course, going
Yes.
into your place needs to really identify that style so that, you know, you're diving deep into that look that you're creating so that you become known really for that. Because it's really pretty specific, and like you say, it's a boutique concept. So, you know, you don't want to expand to the, you know.
That's a cool concept.
It is a cool concept.
Personally, I'm sold. I love the concept. I think it's cool.
So that's the reason that I
there's a lot of people
collaborate
that
with
will like
Lindy so much, and she will even like get on to me like, Mother, you cannot post that. You cannot post that picture, and I'm like, but I love it. But you can't because she is branding.
Right.
Yes.
The Instagram, you know, so it's really simple.
And that's your target audience, actually,
Yeah,
because of the age.
Yes, it's very simple, elegant. That doesn't mean that we don't have like pillows and roses and all that stuff, but when you see the way, like we build tabletops out of beadboard and crates, and we've got wheelbarrows all over my yard, and I just find my signs that I just finished and completed are old twin beds. They are so ornate and beautiful, and I'm creating tripods out of them. So we each have our own strengths, and she still flies bi-coastal. She's in New York. She just got back from Cairo. I mean, she goes to LA, but she lives in downtown Dallas. And she has her part that she's really good at. She would never ever want to go out and buy this stuff like I do, and I can't wait. I mean, I just can't wait. I just foam at the mouth. I can't wait on Friday or Saturday because I have runs that I do, like thrift shops and retail shops, but also I watch estate sales and stuff. And I just know what I'm pulling in, and it just seems to work. And she pulls and does the photos from what I bring in. And since she knows famous photographers and stuff, I mean, she's had them come and help do layout, you know, and different things like that. But really, her photos are, they're in a class by themselves. I mean, they just are really amazing. But she doesn't care about, I've tried to pull her in on painting and other stuff, doesn't work. You know, she's got her thing that she loves to do, and you give me a paintbrush. You give me a paintbrush and a way to, you know, I mean, I'm going to scrape off paint. I'm just going to have fun. I drove to Frisco the other day to pick up 3 chairs. I mean, they just look right to me, you know. But we're going to have furnishings, the cute little sofas. I've got some old wicker, and the outdoor stuff really resonates with me. You know, the old wicker with lots of cushions and stuff out under a tree. And so we've got all that. But if there's something that somebody wants, I'm getting it for you. Because that's what I love to do. So you show me, you bring me your inspiration, and you let me work on that. You know, if somebody has that. I don't know. Anyway, it's exciting. So maybe we'll start doing a wind down Wednesday or whatever. But I kind of had the feeling, build it and you will come, because I'm like you, one-man show. I'm the one who has been mowing the yard because I had been dead set on not getting a loan. I'm the one who went out and found shelves that would hold 1,000 pounds of dishes per shelf and put them together with the hammer. Made sure that I didn't need any tools and put them together with the hammer, you know, until way hours of the night, and worked it so I could get as many in that room as I could. That's me.
What can we do to help? What can the community do to help?
That's our last question, is what can the startup community do to help you?
I mean, the input is greatly appreciated because I listen. I mean, I listen. So, you know, I could see some collaboration too on the part of people who are other entrepreneurs, because we can come and style out something there and then tag each other on it to say this is, you know, it just brings it to life more. And Lindy has taught me that, because Lindy just does that when she's in her downtime, because she shoots with celebrities and stuff. When she's in her downtime, so she's made friends with these people, she flies to LA and shoots something. She just shot a world famous surfer and Olympian. She went out there during her downtime in 2 days, shot one day and one the other, because she keeps her book going, you know. So I think like events, very happy to come over and do something. And I've found a couple of photographers that are like trying to get into that sort of thing. And so for free, they shoot a couple of, and you don't do anything. You supply the, everybody just does a little bit of something.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But anyway, if you're interested or anybody's interested, we're definitely.
Yep, the art of vintage.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so much,
having me.
Rhonda. Thank you, everyone, for attending and watching our video from 1 Million Cups Sherman. We'll see you next week.